Have you been in a situation or an organization? I mean, you were a teacher for 7 years before this. How much does risk aversion, or how much did risk aversion play into, just we'll call it, the culture of teaching? Because I think of teaching, I think of education at the macro level. Education is very institutionalized. Um,
Well, there is a lot of I don't know if politics is the right word, but as a teacher, and also depending on what you're teaching, but I mean, there's a lot of like documentation and proof and measures that you have to take and be able to prove, and you've got to be able to be in the hot seat and defend your teaching and grades and behavior. So there is a lot of like CYA happening,
uh-huh.
covering your ass.
Right.
And that's something that I know a lot of teachers when I worked were very cautious of. Like, you better make sure that you have all your paperwork and your documentation. So that fear stifled a lot of the creative thinking and the lesson planning and the ideas, because there was so much concern of getting in trouble. We were scared to get in trouble. I mean, we really were.
That is so interesting because I was recently speaking at an event, and we were talking about the perspective between where things were in 1994 to where things are now in 2024, and all of the changes that have transpired because of technology. And I made a comment, and it was like kind of just a side remark about being in high school in the 90s versus being in high school today, because a lot of, and my son, he's a freshman, and there's a lot of fear around, and even risk aversion around, like the use of AI in school. Um,
Mhm.
a lot of educators look at I think today, through the lens of, well, that's cheating. Kids are cheating if they're using AI in their schoolwork. They're cheating if they're using AI to write a paper. And that came up because there's an individual in the audience that had raised their hand, and I'd called on them, and we had a little bit of a dialogue. I was on stage, and they said, yeah, absolutely. And she was actually an educator herself. So, and she's now working in content. But she
Oh,
said that the belief that she had around using AI, but also her team, they've had to reframe their belief around using AI in the content production process, because a lot of the team members felt that by using AI, they were cheating. And I was like, huh. So in 1999, 2000, I was a junior, senior in high school, TI 82s.
hmm.
I was like, well, is using AI in that manner, is that cheating? Just like for me using a TI 82 back in 1999, 2000 in my math classes, figuring out a way how to program the calculator and put notes in the calculator for test, that even
That would
when,
be cheating.
but see, but that's an interesting perspective, because you're coming at this from an
I'm actually
educator.
impressed that you could figure that out, because could never figure out how to work one of those stupid calculators.
But is it cheating? And once again, because we're looking at this from two different lenses. I'm
You're
looking at
smart enough to figure it out.
I'm looking at
So,
this from, there's a problem, like I have to take a test. I have a tool, I have a calculator. I'm able to use that tool and figure out a way to put formulas and notes in the calculator so that even when the calculator is cleared, it will maintain the memory of those notes. That was a different way of thinking about the problem. And I think that's how a lot of entrepreneurial minds are built. At the same time, there was inherent risk to that, right?
but you probably got adrenaline out of that. You're living for it.